What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dom and Pop DC Sports Talk Plus podcast. It's not always going to be fun. Let's just get right into it. Detroit Lions absolutely donkeyed us today. Let's talk about it. All right, Pop. Well, hey, we said to the boys we're going to go 1-1 in the first 2 weeks. I think, I don't really remember exactly what our predictions were, but I think I predicted a loss here, and here we are.
Yeah, I said we'd drop this game to the Lions.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we did. Just a miserable game of football. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. Is just that to me is just the same. You know what that we've been having to deal with for the last 3 years under Rivera and Del Rio, and it's been the same crap. This year it's going to be different. We got more talent. This year it's going to be different. We're going to make the adjustments earlier. This year it's going to be different. We got a quarterback. And it's been the same result.
It's one
So
game,
I
son. It's one
I
game.
really don't have no, but it's the same problems. It's one game, but
Yeah.
it's the same problems. Why did we lose? We came out flat. Our offense was ineffective in the first half. Our defense sucks. Our defense has sucked for 2 games, not just one game. Our defense was bad last week too, and all of the preseason and all of last year.
Yeah, I
I
mean I think look,
I have nothing to say. Go ahead.
I think if we're being really honest with ourselves, right? And I know like we're fans, we root for the team, so we're definitely not trying to bash them, right? But if we really base what we've seen on 3 preseason games, giving up that lead to the Jags and being fairly lucky to come back and win that game. Great comeback, not taking anything away from them there. And then what we saw today, and that first half, I was really trying to think. I'm sure there are a few other examples. That's got to be one of the worst half of footballs we've ever seen in Washington as fans. I'm sure there's others that go up there with them. My memory's not that good, but it doesn't get much worse than what we saw in the first half. They did battle back in the second half. I think, one thing that as down as I was on what we saw in the first half, the fact that they battled back and Carson in particular really battled back and really kept fighting, and the offense in particular, that was good to see at least. Gave you, glimmer of hope that the offense can really play and execute. And I also think we can't keep going 3-and-out and putting the defense back on the field. We just can't. We don't have a great defense. No doubt about it. We all know that. And if you just keep giving them the ball back and putting them back on the field, that's what you're going to get. Um, you know, anyway, I mean,
We don't
it's
have a great defense. We don't have a good defense.
we
As a matter
don't.
of fact, we don't have an adequate
The defense
defense.
is poor, and
This
there's no way to
team
argue. And there's no way to argue it.
this team has a 9-win ceiling with that defense. Ceiling. And frankly, we have no floor with that defense. I mean, what was Amon-Ra's stat line? Did he go for 200 yards today? 178 yards and 2 touchdowns at least? I mean, I
Well,
stopped checking after it hit that.
it's a long season, and I think one thing we got to guard against is projecting what this means in terms of the season. You know, we it's according to the script, right? We said they're going to get a win against the Jags. It'll probably be one of those heart attack games, get a win, and they're going to come out flat and they're going to drop a game against the Lions. I think the thing that bothers me is not so much that we lost today because it's the NFL. The
Why you play
Jags
the game?
just destroyed the Colts. I mean, at least they were early on. I don't know what the final ended up
I
being.
don't know if the Colts scored. Um, yeah, the Colts got shut out by the Jaguars 24 to nothing.
So
Um,
you don't know how good these teams really are. I think the Lions are. You said it. You were more convinced of it than I was in our pregame pod. They're a team on the rise, and Hutchinson looked like every bit of what's advertised. And
stud.
he got banged up. They've got those offensive weapons. Um, so at the end of the season, you look back, and this might be a much better team than we think they are. But you're right. The discouraging piece is it's a lot of the same old issues: the slow starts, the not being able to get off the field on defense. Yeah, I give Ron Rivera's team credit in one respect. It seems like we always battle back. And I kind of we were texting. I said, we'll make it interesting at some point in this game, which is in a way comforting. It's too big a hole to dig yourselves into. And I think, we can't hide from it. Some very poor coaching decisions. The offensive play calling in the first half was atrocious. You know, they're putting pressure on you. You can't move the ball. You're not able to. What's your biggest problem, right? Wentz is slow getting the ball in his hands. He just is. And you drop him back in the end zone for a deep ball,
Sack fumble
for a
for a
deep ball,
safety.
like, I mean, I can get a quick slant or a screenplay or something just to give yourself some room or try
Three-step
to create a
drop.
drive. But that's a stupid play call. It's a dumb play call. And I think in the first half, especially on offense, coaches were not putting this team in position to win. Second half seems like there were some adjustments made. Maybe the Lions, losing Hutchinson or him being banged up, it did seem like he had more time to throw. And like I said, I do think Wentz, really, really gutted one out, although it was a horrible throw to Logan Thomas for that pick in the second half. But anyway, I mean, I think it's as important it was where, we all aspirined ourselves and overreact to that Jags win. It's probably makes sense not to overreact to this loss, but that first half was about as bad as it can get. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat that.
To be honest, I think this loss means more than the win did. Just to be real with you, because unfortunately, the win showed us we saw everything bad that we were worried about. We saw that in the win, and unfortunately, the good was just enough to scrape past that. And we had some really, not luck. They were really well made plays, but we had some really miraculous plays happen at some really crucial times. And you can't bet on that every week. It's the NFL. You have professional football players on the other side of the field betting to stop you from that.
Yeah, but
So
I think it's all depends on,
we had just as much bad this week, but we didn't have the
but there
good
was
to
some,
balance it
there
out.
was definitely some good in how they fought back. And
Sure.
look, I mean,
But
it was a
at the
one
end of the
score.
day,
It was a one score game, and yeah, defense couldn't get stops at that point. And at that point in the second half, there was no excuse. Our offense was contributing, our offense was scoring, and we still couldn't get stops, crucial stops against them when we really needed them. And
so
that's the bottom line. But I mean, we had a question mark going into the season around, are the receivers really as good as we think they are? And that receiver group, my God, is
they're
great.
great. They're
Is
great.
great.
That
I
is
mean, the
the
catches that the
only
ball hits Dotson's hands, and no matter what it takes, if it's on the side of his hip or he needs to use his legs to catch it, he's going to come down with it. Same thing with I struggle to think about, have there been drops? Can you think of like drops that have
no, I
happened?
mean, one went off of Thomas's hands, but it was way too high. That was
Yeah,
on
that was a
Carson.
bad throw. I mean,
That was on Wentz.
Samuel looks just absolutely dynamic. I mean,
He's electric.
he looks better than expected. Now it's 2 games. Please, I'm not overhyping him. Don't let him get hurt, please. But if he stays healthy, I mean, he is a superstar in the making.
He's a
So
beast.
I just, I think that we just we totally got out coached in the first half.
Yep. Yeah, it's
So
just the bottom line. I'm with you. The coaching in the first half was miserable. The coaching in the entire game was miserable, frankly. The offense got it together, but then the offense gets it together and you go for two. For what?
awful,
Why?
totally
What?
terrible.
And then do the math. Do the
Yeah,
math.
apparently.
I
I
can do
mean,
the
and
math.
I
We
hope I got
lost by
this right.
9.
I saw the post game conference. We were prepping to get this started, but I think one of the reporters asked Ron about it, and he said to them, "Do the math."
You
Like,
know what the math is, Pop? I did the math. The math is we had the ball on our own 35-yard line with 1 minute and 38 seconds left, down by 9. Now, granted, Joey Sly
um,
shanked an extra point. That's bad. But if he kicks that first one, if he makes one and misses one, we're down by 8, and we actually have a freaking
well,
chance.
the point is, you're down by 8. You've made an incredible comeback. You can get it to a one-score game to be down by 7. You just converted a 2-point conversion the drive before. So now your odds of getting another one back to back. I mean, how many 2-point conversions
And you
actually end
just
up
you
being
just got
good?
off a
And
fourth
and
and
you know what?
one.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, and here's where I'll bring a little heat because I'm usually
Please,
pretty
please,
sympathetic to Ron.
too
Be a
positive
man,
today.
man up, and say you made a stupid call.
Damn
Say that's
straight.
on me. Don't
Damn
try to
straight.
justify it. Don't try to justify it.
I love it. I love it. I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with
I
you.
mean, you know what? You feed us all the stuff. You hide information from us about injuries. You do all this coach speak. You hurt your team by making that call. You hurt your team bad. You took away any chance we had remaining to win that game. Man up to it. Man up to it.
With you.
Don't
With you
chastise a
100%.
reporter to ask you a question about it. Man up to it.
And honestly, this is a problem I've had with Ron since inception, unfortunately. I was excited when he came to town, but I had some reservations about it because of his record. At the end of the day, he's been consistently mediocre. And he's known for having a great culture and he's known for being this great locker room guy that people respect, but his teams have been average. Average. You know what we fired Jay Gruden for being? Average. He was average, and then he had one bad year because he had probably the least talented roster in my lifetime.
Well,
And then
again, I'm not gonna
it's just horrible. I'm sorry. It's just unacceptable.
I'm not gonna get into overreacting about one game. I
I am.
reacted about a moment where I feel like you need to stop BSing us. You need to own a decision that you made. You made a decision. You're Riverboat Ron. You're believing in your name. That's what all that is. That's all that is I'm Riverboat Ron. Look at what I'm going to do. Look how
Yep.
smart I'm going to be at this moment. And you hurt the team with that decision. It was a bad
So
decision. I don't care what the analytics say, what the math is. So just own up to that. So I'm looking at that in isolation. I'm not commenting on, we can once the season is in the books, we could talk about, or as we go, we get more under our feet, we could talk about overall performance. He's our coach. He's done a lot of great stuff. You look at the last couple of years and what he's been put up against between injuries and his personal situation and off the field crap that he deals with this team. I'm not ready to,
here's the
go there
problem,
yet.
though. Here's the problem. Here's the issue. Here's where you lose me in that argument. Year one, obviously, he was handed a terrible team. They made a great rally. He was dealing with the cancer, and we all were behind him, and it was awesome. Year one was about as good as you could have expected that year to go. We ended up winning the NFC East. We saved it. Year two, I'm going to keep this short. Don't worry. I just want to get through it. Year two, Fitzpatrick gets hurt. I know I can see it in your eyes where you're like, he's going on a rant. I'm going to keep it brief. Year two, Fitzpatrick gets hurt in the first game. You can make the excuse for him that we lost our starting quarterback and we had to play the whole year with Taylor Heineke. And we scrapped together 7 wins in what really, you put Taylor Heineke on a lot of teams in the NFL, they're probably winning 3-4 games, right? So we scraped that together. The problem is you start to see these trends throughout year one and year two that are independent of the issues that we're dealing with. The team comes out flat. We tend to be reluctant to make adjustments and stubborn. We're not forthcoming about injuries and about these kinds of things. We're not really creating trust. And then we see, and the second level of the defense sucks. Worst in football. Worst second level in defense in football is horrible. Horrible. Year three, we come out. We don't address the linebacker situation. We go and get our guy at quarterback. Okay, great. You think Carson Wentz is the next Joe Montana? Fine. You can live on that island. And he's been good. I'll give you that. You go and you do that. And then we come out. We don't address the linebacker situation. We don't address the defensive coaching situation. We don't change anything about our scheme. And we come out and we give up 22 unanswered points to the Detroit Lions in the first half of this football game. This is the same mistakes and ineffectiveness is killing this football team that has killed it for the last 2 years. It's insane. It's
There's,
horrible. It's
there's no
horrible.
there's no argument. There's no
DeAndre Swift was on the ground at the line of scrimmage on third down, and he got up and he ran for a touchdown.
Well, it's. I mean, I think in terms of just game recap, and we do need to kind of I think move on, son. But big plays, right? I mean, second drive, 49 yards to St. Brown. I took game notes. Swift with a big run on 50-yard run by Swift on the next drive. Another big run by St. Brown on that sweep, that one that you mentioned earlier, right? The where it was they
Killed
just
us.
needed 1 yard, 58 yards. And
Killed
then
us.
Swift falls down. We get a chance to make a stop. He falls down. I mean, how can he be that alone where he can fall down? I mean, it's not like he got up that super quick and then just pretty easy run to the end zone. So,
No, the way he got up
like
was
you said,
almost
I
like
mean,
an, oh man, the play's still going on. Like he
yeah,
got up slow
yeah. I mean, so there's no argument. The
on a
defense, like
bum
you
ankle.
said, the defense is bad. It's just bad.
Horrible.
There's no, and that's a problem. That's a real problem because we're going to have to score. But I would say that we know that, and we got to stop fooling ourselves as coaches, whatever they're thinking, that it's anything different than that. And you got to help them offensively. And you said it. You said it. You're a fan, a big fan. You know football really good as fans go. And you said, what was one of your keys of the game? We got to run the ball. And
And
what
we
did
got to
I say?
contain the
What
run.
did I say? I said, we're not going to do that, son, because we're googly eyed over these weapons and Carson Wentz and all these points we can put up. And that was a poor game plan going into this game because they came after him. They blitzed him. He's slow in the pocket. He doesn't. He's lost definitely a lot from his feet and his escapability point of view. He did make some plays with his feet in the second half. I was almost going to write, one of the conversations I want to have was like, what's going on? Because he's not mobile at all. But he did seem to make some plays with his feet. But I don't think like it's the thing of like, yeah, I get you want to be able to dictate what you do well to the other team and not have them dictate to you. But that was a poor game plan going into that game.
Yep.
It was clear. We got out coached. And you know what? Own up to it. Own up to it. Don't say things in the presser like another thing he said, which was essentially, kind of to the degree of we put the players in the right position. Now they got to make plays. Bullshit.
BS.
Sorry.
BS.
Yeah, maybe you got to bleep that, son. But I
I'm with
mean,
you.
I thought first half had as much to do to coaching as anything else. I thought that the players played to their abilities. It's just that we've got deficiencies that were exposed. We do have some injuries too, to be fair, and some early injuries in the game on the D line and such. Definitely heard Jonathan Allen wasn't 100% by any means, but the pressure, we said they needed to pressure Goff. The pressure just wasn't there today, and I think
Goff had all
you know
day.
those depth issues really hurt. I mean, he's not good. He's not good.
Goff,
No.
he looked good today. Tell you what, see, that was the problem, and
If
that's
we
what I
pressured
said.
him, you'd
That's what I
see.
said. I agree with you. I don't think he's a good quarterback, but that's what I said last week. I said, look, that was a great win, and I'm happy we won. But I'm really worried because if we play a team one step above the Jags, I think we lose that game. And that's exactly what happened today. We played a team one step above the Jags. We made all the same mistakes we made last week, and we lost the game.
I'm not sure they're a step above the Jags. We'll see, but it just is a situation of they came
Golf
out
played
they came
Golf
out
played
and
better
outplayed
today
us.
than Lawrence played last week.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Lawrence had the ball with a minute 40 and he threw a duck. And that's how
So
we won.
we need
So
to get into our awards, but Carson Wentz. Your take on Carson Wentz, quickly.
he's exactly as advertised. And unfortunately, that's not going to be enough for us to be really good this year. I think we're in for exactly what we thought we would be in for.
Yeah, I agree. I
That's
think I
my
think
short take.
that's the short take. He's exactly what we thought he would be. He's making some crucial mistakes, crucial times. The sack fumble, he's got to know, regardless if that's his deficiency. And I don't like the call from Scott Turner. He's also got to know that he can't take that much time in the end zone at that point when their pressure has been a problem up to
And
that point. He can't take that
he
sack. And that throw to Thomas was another momentum killer. It was a chance. We got a couple stops, a couple scores. It was a chance to really get us back into the game. And it was just, he's wide open and he's a huge target and you still overthrow him. But I do think everything we said about him on the positive, I think he's the best quarterback we've had in a really long time. Um, I think that he's, very capable of winning games for us if we had all the other elements, which we don't. So yeah, I agree. I think he's exactly what we expected him to be. But let's get through these awards, son, and maybe go around the NFL a bit.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I think we're pretty much on the same page about Carson. But yeah, so for the awards this week, it's probably pretty simple. Sauce Award for Curtis Samuel. Pretty much one of like two guys out there doing their job. So and the other two of the three we'll name here in our helmet stickers. Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin.
Yeah,
Studs. Studs,
yeah. We
all of
talked
them.
pregame, and we just said let's just award the receivers because
Yeah,
it's the one position group that is living up to expectations. And maybe you could even say exceeding expectations that you wouldn't think you'd be hitting on all cylinders. Um, don't like not getting Terry involved again till the second half. I
didn't
don't
have his first
understand.
catch until the third quarter.
I mean, screenplay or that sweep, he's got to touch the ball. He's got to touch. I don't remember them targeting him in the first half. I could be wrong. I might have missed a play there,
We couldn't
but
get a first down in the first half. That was the
yeah.
problem. We went 4 drives without a first down.
But
Only had 12 plays.
get him a quick screen or hand him off the ball on one of those sweeps. It's a problem. But yeah, we just decided we're going to award the receiver group, and then yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
I
I
can't.
mean,
We tossed around a couple of different names, Deron Payne. I just can't see rewarding anyone on that defense.
I think Deron Payne is one of two defenders that has been three that has been worth their salt consistently that this season. It's him, John Allen, and Derek Forrest.
Yeah,
Everybody else on that defense is William Jackson the third is probably the worst signing we've made since Josh Norman. He's horrible. Um, that defense just sucks. I can't. I'll talk for another 20 minutes about it. I can't. We'll talk about it in the preview for next week. They're terrible. Um, around the NFL, or sorry, let's get into our kickoffs of the game. Believe it or not, it's not on the defense. Kickoffs of the game, we're going to give to Rivera going for 2 on that play. Something I think that is underrated in the NFL and in decision making is momentum. And momentum doesn't give a damn about your analytics, but you know what momentum does is determine who wins football games more times than not. And going for two there is a complete momentum killer, complete vibe stopper. Because if you don't get it, you're totally, and I get it, you play to get these conversions, right? But if you don't get that conversion, you're left, you take all the gas out of the comeback, all the air out of the balloon, everything just deflates.
It,
And
it's
you
going for
completely
two
screw
the
it up.
going for two the drive before to make it a one score game and get back to sort of 7-14. Made sense.
Yeah.
You say okay, and then your defense can't get a stop. But now you're there. You can be within 7 with an extra point. And yeah, I know that Sly missed the next extra point, but it gives you that opportunity. If he misses an extra point, then you can go for two. Like
And even if
and it's the perfect definition of cacats. Like
yep,
WTF? Like what are you doing?
that's exact
There's
I
nobody that thought that that was a right call in that moment.
I mean,
You
I
know,
didn't
it, it, it
I was
it's
sitting
awful.
watching the game. I said WTF out loud. I didn't quite say the acronym. And my girlfriend's like, "What is he doing?" My dog barked at the TV. Like
And own
nobody
it.
thought.
I'm not going to go on about that again, but my God, just own it. Own that
Horrible.
you hurt your team. Now, look, did it end up making or breaking the game? We can't say that. We couldn't stop the Lions. I don't believe we would have won
No, I
either
don't
way.
either.
But again, little lesson to our non-Italian listeners: it's perfect if you're going to pick a Kikat's moment of the game, and you sit there and you just go, other than just giving it to the entire game, entire coaching staff, entire defense or team in the first half. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it's simple one this week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna give an honorable mention to that Amon-Ra St. Brown run, just coming back and punching us in the mouth after we don't get that 2 point conversion. I mean, that just can't happen. You give up a 54-yard run or
yeah.
56, whatever it was, 50+ yard run when you need a stop.
Like we
That's
said, I mean, you
unacceptable.
count
Um,
four big plays, right? You just big play after big play
but
after
Dad,
big play.
where was our first round draft pick, super athletic, side to side linebacker that's built to stop these kinds of things? That's so great in coverage. Where was he? Oh God, Jesus Christ. Let's just go around the NFL. I can't talk about this team anymore. It's just horrible. If you need anything more to determine what is going on in DC, take a look at my shirt. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely terrible. Oh, apparently the only cure is a Super Bowl, and unfortunately, we're going to be stuck in this thing for a damn long time with the way this team is built right now
All right,
and the
it's
people in
one
charge.
game. It's one
So
game. I think that the team will be
horrible.
back and battle. And the bottom line is, just to wrap it up here. Next two games are division games. We got the Eagles. We got the Cowboys. You want a measuring stick? Nothing better than that. Eagles are going to be, probably the best team in the division. We're going around the NFL. Giants are now 2-0. There's going to be a battle there. Cowboys are wounded. If we don't take them down when they're wounded, so these next two games, if we end up 2-2 you know or better, I would take that. So they're going to be two measures, and it's not just winning or losing. Again, losing to the Lions is not a disaster. It's how it's done, and it's like Dominic said. It's all those things that we've been living with and dealing with for these last many years just come up again and again and again.
Yeah.
That's the upsetting thing. But anyway, Dolphins Ravens. Wow, wow. Had to feel pretty bad for our Ravens insider today.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that makes you yeah, I mean, that is just brutal. I'm just glad that I don't have to hear the Ravens fans talk crap about Jared Goff.
But Dolphins
That's
put
like
up 28
consolation
points,
point.
28 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the kind of day I'm having. I had Ravens defense in fantasy football. So things were looking really good. And then
We're gonna
that
get
kind of
into fantasy in
that
a
kind of
minute, and
fell
it's only
apart.
gonna put you in a worse mood.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's a good thing I benched Jalen Waddle in our matchup. Um, thank God, Mike Evans, the only receiver for Tampa, got ejected and lost me my parlay by 3 yards. Anyways, we'll get into all that later. Giants are 2-0. I
Giants
honestly,
2-0.
I honestly think the Giants have a shot at winning the East. I think,
Classic Belichick. He bounces back, and they beat the Steelers. Who would have thought
yeah,
that? After I banned them from, you know, my betting, Jaguars smacked the Colts. And Commanders fans, let's stop with the Wentz versus Matt Ryan stuff. I mean, we're getting smacked in the first half. And I know Twitter is Twitter. And people are tweeting out that Matt Ryan sucks. Who cares? Who
yeah,
cares? But
that's loser talk. That's
that's
why
loser
both.
talk.
That's
It's
why
loser talk.
both of
I
these
agree. I'm not
franchises are
celebrating that.
bound to mediocrity. Is because of that crap. That's
I'll
loser talk.
celebrate that if we win or we look good. But I'm not celebrating that on a day like
A franchise
today.
that has nothing to do with us looking bad. I could care less. We're getting beat by Jared Goff.
Bucks do what they do, get the win. Jets beat
Should
the
have taken that lot of
Browns.
bets.
So and then in the late games, it's early. But I guess the only thing of note there is Cowboys off to an early lead, 14-3. So there you go. We may be firmly tied for
Cooper Rush,
last
baby.
place at the end of the day, but we'll see how those late games go. I'm not going to give you in process scores there, but yeah, I think it might be time. As much as I know you don't want to go there, to that son talk a little fantasy.
Yeah, so fantasy's a tough week this week. I mean, across my three leagues, I think I'm pretty firmly winning in one of them. Um, but that's not the highlight this week. The highlight this week is the matchup that we so carelessly forgot to outline for you guys, which is the Dom and Pop Bowl. And I there's not much to say about it other than Dad had Lamar Jackson, Nick Chubb, Tyreek Hill, and Curtis Samuel today, and I had Jalen Waddle, who I benched. So that's pretty much how that one went. I benched Jalen Waddle for Mike Evans, thinking that Jalen Waddle has competition and Baltimore's defense is good, and that Mike Evans was going to be the only guy catching balls in Tampa, and that Tom was going to come out and prove the guys wrong. And Mike Evans had 3 receptions for 61 yards, one punch in the face, and one ejection. And Jalen Waddle had 11 receptions for 171 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I'm really good at fantasy football, is basically what that comes down to. Pop is kicking the crap out of me. I can't wait for this to be over. And I get to go to work tomorrow. It's great. I
I
love it
mean,
when
the
we lose like
current live
Sunday.
score is 153-34.
to
Pop
be
over.
to be fair, pretty much my entire team plays in the 4 o'clock games today. But even for those guys, it's not looking
But I got
particularly good.
153 points, son, and I still
Yeah,
have two guys to go.
I mean, I'm gonna need Justin Jefferson and Stephon Diggs to walk on water. That's
It
basically what's
would be
gonna
pretty
happen.
funny if you did a miraculous comeback and beat me, but I think mathematically it's almost pretty darn near impossible. So, all I'm going to say, son, is sometimes the sensei has to teach the student a little bit of a lesson.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's just
whatever.
one of those weeks. I just came out and I just had to do it to you. I'm sorry. I
Pretty
know it was
much,
a painful week.
pretty much every year, Pop's team, it's like their
I
Super
got
Bowl.
a
I
good
don't know
team.
what happens.
Any fan bam that's listening, your boy's coming because I was rated poorly. I was dismissed. There was all this talk about all these other guys. Watch out for me. By far going to be the highest scoring team this week in the league.
Well, the Curtis Samuel pickup was huge for you because
It's brilliant.
you were looking a little rough in the receiver department. But the Curtis Samuel pickup was huge for you. So yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
Cooper, who I benched for Samuel, had more points than Samuel. So
you've got Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry. That's a pretty tough duo to beat. Um, Yeah, I don't know what more is to say there. At least, I got Nick Chubb in another league. Thankfully, unfortunately, I don't know who I'm going against in that other league, so I can't even talk crap which sucks because that's my favorite part of fantasy football, and all the leagues that I can talk crap in, I'm getting beat in. So awesome. Just a terrible, terrible day for me and for
Well, I
football.
can never feel totally good when the Commanders perform like they did, but the fantasy win has given me a little bit of you know enjoyment. I'm not going to lie. Not
I'm
so much
glad.
because I'm beating you.
I'm
That
glad
doesn't
it's.
make me feel good,
Oh,
but
come
I don't
on,
want to lose to you. I'm going to admit.
please.
But I got to hear everybody talking smack about how good they are at fantasy and how this old guy doesn't know what he's doing. And every year, I just seem to be in it. I seem to be in it. Playoff team, in the finals, in the semis. You know, what can I say? I like my team. I like those guys, those little
Yeah.
men on that screen getting
Hey,
it done.
I'm glad you got it. So, yeah, but you know, like I
Hey,
said,
you've
the
always got your bada bet, son.
yeah, which is just doing great for me too. My botto bets is awesome. Thank God for that silver lining of that parlay that I played today, where Mike Evans, the over was set at 64 and a half yards. Mike Evans gets ejected. Like there was a decent Patriots had the ball when Evans got ejected, and there was a decent amount of time left on the clock, and he was 3.5 yards short of the over, and my parlay would have hit. Otherwise, everybody hit. The Tyreek catches hit. Uh, Wentz smashed over on passing yards. I had Curtis Samuel on receptions, which was way too low. That was a lock. And I had one more that I can't remember off the top of my head. And then Mike Evans for the fifth one. And damn, that sucks. I'm still up on the year, but Tua. I had Tua interception higher than point 0.5.
I got a little grief for that Tyreek Hill pick in fantasy. Looks like he's
Hey
working
man,
out down in Miami.
Tua looks legit.
Yeah,
Tua
yeah.
looks legit. So
So
we'll see.
anyway, I mean, butter bets, we're not doing so hot. We may have to just wipe the board clean, start over. We're 0-3 as it stands right now.
We're working
Dominic, I
on
try to talk him out of it. He picked the Commanders. Let's just avoid picking the Commanders.
We're working on selling the IP. We're
He
seeing
picked
we're
the
we're
Commanders.
taking bidders. We're
But
taking bidders for the bottom bets IP. If
I've
anybody's
got
interested,
Seahawks versus the 49ers. Oh my God. 49ers are up 13 nothing. Oh no, son. We
ah,
could
just
be staring at 0-4.
well. Speaking of situations that are a little rough, Trey Lance carted off the field today
Oh no.
for the 49ers. So you know,
That's a good thing they kept Jimmy G. But that's
thank God
you
they
hate to
kept
see
Jimmy
that.
G. I hope Jimmy
Hate to
G
see
finds
that.
Brandon Ayuk for a touchdown. I have him in fantasy. But geez, I mean, you just hate to see that. I mean, so much invested into the kid. I haven't particularly been the biggest Trey Lance truther, but of course, you never root for something like that.
Yeah.
That's just horrible. Um, but I mean, Pop, I think we covered it
I'm
all.
just gonna call my shot here. I've been posting shorts about our butter bets results. I'm not doing it this week. It's
No,
not
I think you
happening.
gave us a good enough rant to cover the shorts content. I don't think we want to. I think we're good on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just awful. I made a promise to myself that I'm not going to call for any coaching changes until at least week 4 this year. So 2 weeks until I start calling for Jack Del Rio to be fired. And until then, guys, so it's only 4 more episodes until I say that. So until then, I think we're pretty much good. So the
Yeah.
countdown is on. I'll see you guys there because God knows ain't nothing going to change between now and then. Hopefully, the offense can run away with it enough. Um, so I think that's it for us this week. Pop, you got anything else you want to cover, or should we just?
There is no point in dragging this on any further.
Oh
So
my God, I might have to like go
let's
for
move
a
on to the
run.
next one. Let's wipe the tape and move on to the next one.
222. If I start drinking now, can I recover in time for work tomorrow morning? That's the challenge.
As
Let's
your
see how it
father, I'm going
goes.
to advise against it.
Let's see how it goes. All right, guys. Well, with that, I mean, nothing left to say. Kick ass to the Washington Commanders this week. Horrible. I've been Dom,
This is Pop.
and Yeah, I guess we'll see you guys on Tuesday. I mean, Jesus.
Just love me, baby,